Good morning.
Good morning.
And welcome to the garden.
Well, take me back down where cool water flow, y'all. Let me remember the things that I love, Lord. Stopping at the log where catfish bite, walking along the road at night, barefoot girls dancing in the moonlight. I can hear the bullfrog calling me. I wonder if my rope's still hanging to the tree. Love to kick my feet way down the shallow river. Shoe fly, dragonfly, get back to mother. Pick up the black rock, skip it across the green river. Well, up at Cody's camp, I spend my day with black car riders and cross-tie walkers. Old Cody Jr. took me, said, you're gonna find the world is smoldering, and if you get lost, come on home to Green River.
Good morning. It is so good to be with you at camp. The second week of camping here at the garden. We're delighted that you're here. Our prayer is that you will experience the love of God in and among our community of faith. I just have a couple of things I'd like to highlight from the bulletin today. And first of all, I want to encourage you to fill out this little card and turn it in. Why? Because when you fill it out, as Madeline did last week, I will put it in my purse and intend to call you and then find it on Sunday morning. So if you do that, I can promise you that'll happen, and then I'll call you out next week. No, that's not true. But we just want to know you're here. We want to know you're part of the gang. We want to know that you're hanging with the garden. So just a couple things I'd like to highlight. It's Soups On again. If you have not participated in Soups On, it's a feeding program downtown. It's the only warm meal on Sundays. It's been in existence for like 30 years. Different churches go to Roberts Park United Methodist Church to serve, and we found that the last time we did it with our Sloppy Joes, we were a hit. So we're going to do that again, August 6th, and there's notes in there about how you can be involved. And then Becky will be at sign-ups following service. That's Becky, and she'll help you sign up. A couple of other things. Hey, Michael and Deb's concert sold out, but that doesn't mean you can't go. You can sit on the, what is it called? Canal. You can sit on the canal and watch the concert as well, and then laugh at all of us who bought tickets. No, I'm joking. So we're really looking forward to that. That's going to be a blast. I'm so glad you're here. Today, if you're looking for something to do in December, well, no, here. You're looking for something to do in December. I know it. And you can help us with our cabaret. There's a planning meeting today. We're trying to get ahead of the curve and to make this work. So that's where we're at. Another thing I'd like to announce, is go ahead and take a look at the back side of that thing I ask you to fill out every week that you don't. And look at that. We are at 93% of our goal. And let me tell you, that was Thursday. And Martha came up to me today, and her eyes were as big as plates. Not saucers, plates. So something tells me you're a little closer than we were. But we still need some people. Remember, it was 60 donors in 60 days. 60 people in 60 days. And it's a matter of saying, yes, I'm committed to the garden. So if her eyes were this big and she said the word 15 to me, that means we need 15 people to give $5, $10, $20, whatever, because both goals are so important. One is financial and one is I'm in. The garden is my home. I love this place. So I just thought I'd throw that out there. So today, again, we're camping. Just like last week, we're camping again. And so with that in mind, I'm going to talk to Lea Ann here. What's going on, Lea Ann?
Hi, we're not camping again. The closest thing to camping was the marshmallows and the s'mores that I did last week. But what we're doing this week actually is a parable, because Jesus talked in parables so that those around him could understand what he's saying. And one of the things that I love to do, and I do in my own classroom, is I put everything to a song. Because if you can attach a song, it sticks.
Absolutely.
Right? If only a song could have been with algebra, I would have nailed it.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So we're going to start, and I'm going to teach everyone the first 2 verses and then the chorus. And then the last verse, the kids and I are going to learn downstairs.
Beautiful.
All right? So it starts with, the foolish man built his house upon the sand. The foolish man built his house upon the sand. The foolish man built his house upon the sand. And the rain came tumbling down. Nice.
That's how we roll here, baby.
Wow. So the rain came down and the floods came up. The rain came down and the floods came up. The rain came down and the floods came up, and the house on the sand went flat. Now, the wise man built his house upon the rock. The wise man built his house upon the rock. The wise man built his house upon the rock, and the rains came tumbling down. And the rains came down and the floods came up. The rains came down and the floods came up. The rains came down and the floods came out. And the house on the rock stood strong, firm. Strong, firm. But it stood there.
It stood there.
And it didn't move. Firm.
Beautiful.
Right? Firm.
Beautiful.
So we're going to learn the last verse of that, unless you guys want to come downstairs and hang out. We can all have, just come on. It's all portable, right? And we're going to learn the last verse. But what I love about this is God is saying, Jesus is saying, look, the rains are going to come.
Amen.
And the floods are going to come.
Yeah.
But if you build upon me, you will stay fast.
Beautiful.
You're not going to, everything's going to be fine. So we're going to go downstairs and we're going to build some houses.
Beautiful.
And we're going to eat the houses. Yeah, come on down. It's going to be amazing.
That's great. That's
all
great.
Right? So
all right,
we're
Lynn.
going to, kids, let's all go downstairs. We're going to go into the, not 111, but the other one where there's a kitchen and we can get all messy and it's closer to the bathroom so we can clean up after ourselves. But are you ready? All right, let's go. Yes.
Lorelei is our regular. She's going to help Remy and Jada, and we're excited about that. I love that Lea Ann shared a parable because, parables were most often told around the campfire. That's what Jesus did. He shared those stories around a campfire. And I also love that it was about a house because today, as we were putting up the tent, nice tent, huh? Thanks you, Bob and Doran. Sean came to me and said, I have not put up a tent for 20 years. And I said, wow, that's pretty incredible. He said, yes, I bought a house. People should think about that. Anyway, so with that said, so we're making our way to nature. So as we still our hearts and our minds and our spirits today, just work your way back into a place of nature. Breathe in deeply as we share and prepare our hearts for worship. We're glad you're here.
Good morning, friends. How are all of you?
Good.
Please share with these universal words of welcome as I light this fire, and you might step back a little bit. Okay. Shalom. Shalom. Salam. Salam. Namaste. Namaste. Peace. Ooh, it's warm up here. All right. Okay, a quick show of hands. How many of you love to camp? Okay, take a look while your hand's up. Don't ask the people with the hands down. Don't ask them if they want to go with you. You know, there's a true camp. Either you love it or you hate it. You know, our good friend Bill Brown is camping, and he's been camping lots and lots of weeks, or that's where he says he is. So, you know, hi, Bill, I hope you're watching. But he is camping, and he has that camping love. A few years ago, I went with a couple of other teachers, and we drove to Yellowstone, and we camped for 3 weeks in a tent. We're still friends. It was. I would do it all over again. But it was a remarkable experience, and there's nothing like it. You know, you can stay in the nicest hotel, but it's a totally different experience. And, you know, hopefully, you know, those of you that didn't have your hands up, someday you'll have a good experience camping. Okay. Now, I have the prayer today. If you don't come to service for a few weeks, then they stick you with the prayer. But anyway, before we start the prayer, I would like to do a little round of Kumbaya. So we're all singing. We all know the words. And then I'll do the prayer. Ready? Kumbaya, my Lord. Kumbaya. Kumbaya, my Lord. Kumbaya. How's it go? Kumbaya, my Lord. Kumbaya. Oh, Lord. Kumbaya. Okay, thank you. If that doesn't get you in prayer, I don't know what will. Okay. Lord, thank you for our many blessings. Thanks for the sun and the moon and the stars and waterproof tents. Thank you for the campfire to warm our souls. Let us take that warmth to share with others to show your true love. We ask this in your name. Amen. Now, we're really close to the campaign. I'm a procrastinator, you know. My spiritual gift is not doing things on time, you know. I'm good at other things. But we need some more people to donate. Some more, get it? All right, I know, it was bad. I worked on it all week. Anyway, please, if you can, please donate. And, you know, if you're like me, you can do it tonight or tomorrow. And yeah, anyway, thank you.
I'll be back in a week or two. Don't you try to reach me, 'cause I won't pick up for you. I've got some things I need to do. Where the air is sweet and new. And don't you try to reach me, 'cause I don't want to talk to you. I've got some things I need to do. I'm trying to let go. I think it could help being alone. And I'm trying not to let you make me cry. I've spilled too many tears, and I think I deserve to be alone. Don't you try to reach me while I pick myself up and go. I've gotta do this on my own. I need to build myself a Oh, I'm headed to the mountains, the only place I feel at peace. And I knew you'd come after me, so I threw away your keys. But I know you never go when I say leave. I'm headed to the mountains, don't wait up for me.
Doran pointed out that my Facebook post this morning said this, and to think that the Spirit isn't working in this world, because I didn't look very closely at what Caroline was singing, but it went like this. Mountains can be climbed with as little effort as possible and without desire. The reality of your own nature should determine the speed. If you become restless, speed up. If you become winded, slow down. You climb the mountain in an equilibrium between restlessness and exhaustion. Then, when you're no longer thinking ahead, each footstep isn't just a means to the end, but a unique event or adventure in itself. Thank you for singing that song. I thought that was beautiful. I wish I could take credit for it, but I can't. I can't. All right. Becky, you are a great fire starter. Thank you very much for building that fire for us this morning. Yeah. So, something about a campfire, right? The stories start. And I believe that our Bible is really a campfire Bible. We get too tied up in all of the logistics of the Bible and whether this is true or that is true. What if we start thinking of the Bible as something we read as we sit around a fire, just as we tell a story? So I'm going to start with this story today. Wow, we got fires everywhere. Somebody call the fire department. Okay. The first one is from Exodus, and it goes like this. You may remember this story. And I'm standing over here for a reason. Now Moses was tending his flock, the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian. And he led the flock to the far side of the wilderness and came to Horeb, the mountain of God. There, the angel of the Lord appeared to him in flames and fire from within a bush. Moses said that though the bush was on fire, it did not burn up. So Moses thought, I'll go over and see this strange sight. Why the bush is not burning up. When the Lord saw that he had gone over to look, God called out to him from within the bush, Moses, Moses. And Moses said, Here I am. And then God said, Do not come closer. God said, Take off your sandals, for the place you are standing on is holy ground. Then he said to him, I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob. At this, Moses hid his face because he was afraid to look at God. The Lord said, I have indeed seen the misery of your people in Egypt. And he goes on to tell him that it is going to be his job to lead these people to a new way of being. But Moses then goes on to say to God, Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and try to save these people? And God says, I will be with you. And this will be a sign to you that I sent you. When you have brought the people out of Egypt, you will worship me on this mountain, Horeb. So isn't that interesting? God appears the angel of the Lord appears in fire. And when Moses tries to get close, God says, Nope, you can't look at me. The second is from way on the other end of the Bible in the New Testament, from the Gospel of John. Jesus has resurrected and is now appearing to the disciples in different places. Hear this story. Afterwards, Jesus appeared again to his disciples by the Sea of Galilee. It happened that he gathered with the disciples who had said, I'm going fishing. And then one of the disciples said, I'm going fishing. And the others said, well, we'll go with you. Early in the morning, as they were out fishing, Jesus stood on the shore. But the disciples did not realize that it was Jesus. He called to them, Friends, haven't you caught any fish? No, they answered. He said, remember this story? Throw your net on the other side of the boat. You'll find some there. When they did, they were unable to haul in the net because of the large number of fish. Then the disciple whom Jesus loved said, It's the Lord. And as soon as Simon Peter heard him, he said, It is the Lord. And he wrapped his outer garment. He was fishing in the nude. He wrapped himself up and he jumped in the water because he was so excited to see Jesus. And he made his way to the shore, and the other guys, they made their way to the shore as well. And when they arrived at the shore, guess where Jesus was? At the fire. He had created a fire for his friends to gather around. He had cooked a couple fish. He had created this place where he could be with his friends. God is here and Jesus is here. Those are the stories of the Bible. Let's not get tied up in what's true and what isn't true. Let's get caught up in how God comes to us. Sometimes we can't see God, and sometimes God is in our midst and in our presence. Will you pray with me? Holy God, may my thoughts, words, and actions be a blessing to you, now and forevermore. Amen. Okay, so have you seen it? Have you seen it? It's on Netflix. It was on the History Channel. It's called Alone. Anybody? One person besides me. 2 people, 3 people, thanks be to God, 4 people. It's a weird little thing that 10 people go out to Labrador, Canada. By the way, all of us who have ever flown to Europe know Labrador, Canada, if you follow the flight path, because it always says, hey, you're close to Labrador, Canada. And you often think, I wonder what goes on in Labrador, Canada. Well, let me tell you, because you've been on a plane for 8 hours or something, right? Nothing. It is absolute wilderness. There is nothing going on. And 10 people, by choice, choose to leave their families, everything they know. They're given 10 different items. Now, you know what? You're going to go home and watch this, so forget it. You're done for the day. You are never going to, you can't do anything else. You got to watch this thing. Though Andrew says, I watched the 3rd episode and the 5th episode, Carolyn, and they're a lot alike. Anyway, they're not naked. No, they're just alone. They're not naked because it's really cold. It's really cold. It's like September, October or something. So they get 10 things that they get to choose to take, and they just kind of dump them in these different places in Labrador, not anywhere near one another. They just dump them in these different places, and then they say, see ya. Now, there's a way to contact them if something happens to you, but it's fascinating. Now, it is. I'm telling you, my dad said, okay, so wait, it's just one guy for an hour? And I'm like, no, Dad, they tell you the stories of the different guys. Yes, but they're not with other people. Right. Well, who are they talking to? They're talking to the camera. And when you look at it that way, it does look really stupid. But in any case, you can give it a try and tell me what you think. So in any case, what happens is they kind of tell you about their adventure. You watch them as they try to get their shelter together and as they kill squirrels and things. Sharon, our assistant Sharon, is going to Florida tent camping in the fall, and I picture Sharon, our Sharon, killing her squirrel and eating it like these people. I don't think she'll do that. She's more of a Disney fan, but that's beside the point. They each have to kill their own food and forage their own berries and do all these things. And when they're done doing that at nighttime, 9 out of 10, not all of them, but 9 out of the 10 sit by a fire that they have created for themselves. Now, what I find so interesting about this fire, even though these people are all alone and talking to a camera, is that is the time they reflect on what's important to them. I'll tell you what, there's a lot of beloved moms among these 10 people. When you are not naked, when you're alone and doing your best to survive, you remember your mother. A lot of them did. Or their girlfriends, or whatever. So they would pause by the fire at night, and they would talk to these cameras, and they would share with you deeply the people that they missed. Well, we at the Garden could have told them that, because we have studied with Dr. Christopher Lynn, who taught us just 2 months ago that fires have an incredible impact on people. People gather around the fire to be reminded of what they believe, how they behave, and what's the third B? There's the third B. I forget it every time. Behavior, belief, and belonging. The fire pulls that out of us. If you remember correctly, he studied this. He studied this for months and was given money by a fireplace company. Do you remember that? And not only did his studies show that when you look at it like that, it does have a calming impact on you. Your heart rate goes down. But when you hear it, can't you hear this fire? And you see it and you're present with it, it has even more of a calming effect. So there's something deep within us, 2 million years old, that draws us to fires. That draws us to the fire. I share that today because I'm curious, when was the last time you were drawn to the fire? When was the last time? And maybe we do have, I saw a lot of hands go up, maybe we do have people that on a regular basis build a fire in their neighborhood, and I'm sure the neighborhood association loves that, and gathers around it. But probably most of us don't. So for 2 million years, we know that there is energy here. And I do believe that as we continue to gain more understanding in the technological world, we need to be reminded where we connect with the divine. Now, if you remember, Christopher Lynn also noted that there had been studies done on TikTok, and in some ways, that initial feeling you get when you watch TikTok is similar to this, and it slows your heart rate down. But moments later, it's like when you get to the next one and you get excited about the next TikTok and the next TikTok and you don't know what's going on, your heart rate goes up again. So it does not have the same impact. It may initially appear to have the same impact, but it's not this. I saw this at work this summer at camp, right? So remember, we took grandparent and me camp, or you and me camp, and we gathered around a fire, and I watched kids who had been active all day do this. Right? You've seen it before, right? Kids who can't keep still, you get them in front of a fire. Right? And then there's always that kid who has to be in the fire, but they're like this. And then you see them engage with the you and me that they're with. You see them, and we asked grandparents, tell your you and me what it was like growing up for you. When did you sit around a campfire? And the grandparents paused to share their stories with these kids. And then they made another memory around the fire. It was pretty profound. It was pretty amazing to me. And I have to tell you that in that moment, I didn't have a you or me with me. I felt like that fire was kind of a burning bush moment for me. See, I was not in the experiences of those people, those little kids and their grandparents. But I was there witnessing something profound, and so profound and beautiful, I almost had to look away because I was weepy. God worked in that moment and reminded me, I am working in this world, Carolyn. Get out of my way. I was reminded in that moment that God speaks through fire, and we all need to listen. Each and every person in this room has had an opportunity to have a burning bush moment. Each and every one of us. God has spoken to us in some way or another. I have shared mine with you before, sitting on the Dan Ryan, getting ready to go work for Harris Bank, which I was so very excited about, and getting ready to sign the final papers, and I was sitting in traffic. If you've ever sat on the Dan Ryan, you usually sit. You don't really move that much. You sit. And then I suddenly heard a voice. I don't know if it was a real voice. I don't know what it was that said, do you really want to do this the rest of your life? For me, I think that was a burning bush moment, because I literally got off at 55th Street, turned around and went back to Indianapolis and took a job as a children's choir director, making nothing, and I was never happier in my whole life. That was my burning bush moment. I know other people who have had burning bush moments. I can tell you that there was a guy that I went to seminary with who passed away, but he had worked in the prosecutor's office, and he went to work in the prosecuting attorney's office for the city of Indianapolis or the state or something because he wanted to make a difference in the world. But after so many years of seeing the same people going through the systems, of seeing the same things happening over and over and over again, he was simply overwhelmed. And God said, "This is not where you belong, Jeff." So he left this great job that he had studied. I think he was a Harvard grad, that he had studied his whole life for, that he believed it was where he was called. He went to seminary, and from seminary, he went to Cambodia. And he lived the rest of his days in a mission in Cambodia, helping people there with legal issues. That is a burning bush moment. And we all can have them if we pay attention. I know someone who was deep in grief and loss after the loss of a husband. They had retired. They had spent their time taking care of their husband, and that's what they needed to do at that point in their life. And then a burning bush came to them and said, "We need some help back in the classroom." They were retired. They were done working. So they agreed to go for a semester. That person is still working and so filled with the Spirit that I am just completely overwhelmed whenever I am in their presence. That was a burning bush moment. We all can have them. I would love to hear about your burning bush moments. I would love to hear all about what's going on in your life. I would love to hear, yes, that happened to me, and to share it with us in whatever way we can, around a fire, or around a round table, or somehow together. I would love to hear your story. We are not taking the time to hear one another's stories. Not long ago, I read in this a book, I guess. I don't know what it was. I just want to make sure people know I'm not sharing someone's confidential information. And it was the story of a mother who had done everything she could to support her daughter who was struggling with addiction. She was completely overwhelmed. She had tried everything. She had put her in recovery programs. They had gone into debt to make sure that the girl had everything she needed to make it through this recovery program. And she would leave early, or she would, move here, or she would do this, or she would do that. And the mother finally one day fell to her knees and said, "I can't do this anymore." And God said, "But I can." Burning bush moment. She let go. The story did not turn out happily ever after immediately, but there was something profound in her life that became richer and fuller because she realized that God's love for her daughter was greater than even her own. Burning bush moments. Name them and claim them, figure out what they are. Now, those are you and God moments. But then the other moment, I love that Jesus comes back and hangs out with his buddies around a fire. We get all tied up. Is it real? Is it isn't real? Was he really resurrected? Was that? What's most important is he hung out with the people he loved. And he reminded them that he had given them everything they need to make it on this journey. He reminded them that the spark of God's Spirit was within them, that they didn't need to be afraid, that there were miracles that could happen anywhere, that maybe you're just fishing out of the wrong side of the boat. That's all he did. He hung out with his friends around a fire. All right, I got a little admission of sorts because I bet you have too. How many of you were intrigued by those fiery things you can buy that look really cool that you can put on your patio? The fiery things? Yeah. How many of us have them? Come on, we got them. Yep. How many of us use them? Yep. There we go. Do you know what I'm talking about? Shirley doesn't know what I'm talking about. So you can buy these things that look like a fireplace. No, they're propane. They're destroying the environment. Most of them are propane. Solo ones are not propane, but it's just like a little fire pit that you just push a button and it goes, whew. And if you're anything like me, you say, we have one of these, and you invite everybody over, and you have some cocktails and some treats and some snacks, and you do it once, and you never do it again. My fire, and ours is long and thin, and it has this cool glass around it, and what my number one thing that I do most with my fire pit is when it rains, the cover gets water in it, so I dump out the water. That's what I do most with my fire pit. I'm too close to the fire. I think for all of us that have those silly things, that God did inspire us to buy those. I do. I know I'm crazy. It wasn't just Jeff Bezos and Amazon. I think there was some inspiration around there. Something deep within us knew that this was a sacred and beautiful place that we could gather with our friends. So, if you have one of those things, those of you who raised your hand, I want you to call your friends and say, my idiot pastor said I have to use this thing. She said God's going to show up if I turn it on, so will you come over and prove her wrong? Why not? Why not? What else do you have to do? Sit, watch Netflix where you can see the same thing 10 shows over. How much is that? 10 hours that I can never get back in my life? That's not changing us. This is where God goes to work. So friends, I guess the point today is put another log on the fire, pull up a chair and sit around the campfire. God is speaking to you through burning bush moments. God is speaking to you around the campfire. It's important for us to engage with one another and to truly take time to love and care for one another around the magic of a fire. Will you pray with me? God of grace and love, to you we give thanks for the fire of life, for the reminder that we may start them, but we're not the flame. You bring the flame and the spark into our lives. Help us as we continue on the journey to truly live in the spark of your Spirit. Amen. Friends, the music has been phenomenal, and it's getting more phenomenal. Today we welcome Peck, who had a gig early in the morning, but she's here. And we're so glad to have you. Welcome. Allie works with Dorn and his band. We're really glad. What a day, what a day. I'll get out of your way.
Pay paradise and put up a parking lot with a pink hotel, a boutique, and a swinging hot spot. Don't it always seem to go, but you don't know what you got till it's gone. You pay paradise, put up a parking lot. They took all the trees, put them in a tree museum, and they charged all the people $1.50 just to see it. Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you got till the by the screen door slam, and a big yellow taxi took away my old man. Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you got till it's gone? Made paradise, put up a parking lot. Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you got till it's gone? Paved paradise, put up a parking lot. The paved paradise, put up a parking lot. The paved paradise, put up a parking lot.
One second. You're going to do it in a second. Allie, welcome. Fabulous. Next week, we're going to make this a bigger circle around that fire, which means it's storytelling time. So in preparation for next week, the first thing I'm going to do is teach you the garden camp clap. And it goes like this. Let's practice that, because we're starting next week's service with that. You ready? All right, you'll get it by next week. So just make that go in your head all week long. And then, if you've ever told a story around a campfire, we're going to give you the opportunity next week to take the mic and share your story. It could be a short-necked buzzard. It could be stirring a purple stew, or it could be something really meaningful about your own life. We would love for you to share in our campfire next week, because we are a community that comes together in a variety of different ways. Becky reminded me it's important for us to put out the fire.
The watering can. And I'll pass it around in case you want to give some more.
We look forward to seeing you next week. Go now in peace, and may the love of our God be yours today, tomorrow, and forevermore. Let me know if you want to share those stories. Amen.
1, 2, 3.